Thanks. Hi, everybody. Hi. So, let me tell you how I kind of got interested in this topic. A few years ago, I was reading this article, and it was talking about, let's say we have a time machine, and we can move someone, from the 1800s, right? And get them in this time machine, and bring them to Los Angeles in 2014, and think of like all of the amazing things that this person's going to see. Let's say like this person, for example, when they're used to a general store that looked like this, right? And then all of a sudden, they're in the middle of Costco, and they're going to be incredibly confused at what this is, right? And you could think of all the amazing things that we just take for granted. You're not, no one rode to campus today on a horse. You probably rode in a car, all the things that are different today. And then the author of this article went on to say, this was the one-room schoolhouse back in the 1800s when our time traveler went to school, and this is the classroom from today. And if you plop our time traveler down in the middle of a classroom, he or she would look around and say, desks all in a row, kids sitting in them, everyone's looking forward at a teacher who's lecturing. That board used to be black instead of white, but I know what this is. This is a classroom. And the question is, why has everything else around us changed except for the classroom? It looks exactly like it has for hundreds and hundreds of years. We are trying to drag ourselves kicking and screaming into the 21st century and hope that we can find a way to make our classrooms look different to reflect the reality really of what's been going on. There are a whole bunch of challenges. Money and political will are certainly two of them. And I'm going to talk about a big one. This, when I took office in 2007, is one of the middle schools, their computer labs in my district. Unfortunately, it still looks pretty much like this today. The state of technology in the second largest school district in the country was one of, if a school was lucky, it had a computer lab, it had a bunch of desktops, most of which were outdated. Some were running software that was no longer supported. Literally, as businesses in the neighborhood closed, they would go there and beg, can we have your old computer you're about to throw out? Inadequate bandwidth, they kept crashing systems, all sorts of things. So when I was running for office in 2007, you go door to door and you knock on people's doors and you introduce yourself. And I had the most amazing encounter. So this door that I knocked on, this woman opened the door and she said, I am so glad to meet you because I have a story for you. And it turns out she was a computer teacher at LAUSD. And she said, a few years ago, the LAUSD and other school districts, they were beneficiary of some lawsuit, and there's all this money that was given to LAUSD to use for computers, for software and hardware, and it's just been sitting at the district for years because no one could figure out how to spend it. And she said, every year I apply for it, and every year they tell me, yeah, we know what you're talking about, but we can't give you the money because we don't know how we're going to spend it. And she said, it's about to run out. And you're going to lose tens of millions of dollars because no one in that district can figure out how to spend it. So I made her a promise. I said, if you help me get elected, I promise you I will find out what happened to that money. So I was elected, and one of the first things that my staff and I did is we were like, so what happened to this Microsoft money? We started asking questions, and people didn't want to tell us anything. And it turns out that she was exactly right. The district had been sitting on tens of millions of dollars to be used for purchased computers, hardware and software, and had absolutely no idea how to spend it. So we figured that out, dragged people kicking and screaming. We got computers and software into every school in the district using that money. And I'll tell you how in a second, But the next problem that we figured out pretty quickly was lack of bandwidth in schools. So in December of 2011, I pushed to spend about $99 million of bond money that was supposed to be used for technology to install Wi-Fi at our schools. And then in August of 2012, our superintendent, John Dacey, he gave a speech to principals right before school opened, and he promised to put a computer in the hands of every teacher and every student in the next 15 months. 600,000 students, more than 600,000 students and 35,000 teachers. So that was our promise, and we thought we could do it. And I'm here to tell you the reason why we couldn't. It was money, it was hard. It's that buying technology for your school is different than anything else we've ever tried to purchase. And I'll make the argument that the reason why is because, let's say you're buying desk chairs, right? Maybe you get some teachers together, some folks in, procurement, they figure out how many desks you need, what the specifications are, you go buy some chairs. You're ordering oranges for the cafeteria, kind of same thing. There's a couple people who need to be involved. You go find the cheapest price, you buy some oranges. Even when you buy textbooks, you have like a committee together, a group of teachers and administrators, maybe some parents, some students. You pick a textbook, you go out and you buy them. Technology is different because you have to do all of that. So when we tried to figure out what kind of technology we need in schools, first of all, everyone wants something different. So even if you can get over that hump and you figure out, let's say we want to buy tablets, okay? You can't just go out and buy tablets because, okay, where are you putting, let's say you're going to buy desktops. Do you need to go talk to your folks in facilities? Do you have a room that has 40 outlets on every single campus? What about air conditioning? Is it going to stay cool enough that you're going to be able to use it? What about security in the room where you're going to keep whatever these objects are? Is there a room that has the right security? If you're buying something that's going to go home with students or might unintentionally go home with students, you need to talk to the local police. If you're going to have kids walking around with $500 or $1,000 devices, you need to get their input. What about your IT folks? Who's going to set up all the computers or all the technology? Who's going to update it? Who's going to do the training? Who's going to do the maintenance? Who's going to do the troubleshooting? Buying technology forces people who normally don't speak to each other to have to talk to each other and work it out prior to the purchase. And that became so much harder than we ever thought. Because every time we rolled out another phase, and we're going to talk about that, we figured out other things that we had forgotten about entirely. Like, to be honest, one of the things that we kept forgetting about in the beginning was, let's say you buy tablets, where are you going to charge them? Like, we never thought about that. And that's one of the things that we needed to figure out. So what's the Common Core Technology Project? It used to be called Schools for the Future. It got renamed the Common Core Technology Project, basically because computers support the nationwide Common Core curriculum that's going to be coming in 2014 and 2015. And the goal that we still have is to get a device into the hands of every student and every teacher in our school district. A panel chose iPads for LAUSD. Some of you might have read a little about that. But iPads are only the tool to deliver the content. And what this has always been driven by is the curriculum and instruction needs of students based on the Common Core technology. We deployed the first phase in 85 schools. The cost of the devices that LAUSD bought included preloaded English and math curriculum, warranties, a tracking device, a case that makes it almost impossible to break even for my kids. And then, we rolled it out in phases for a reason, because we knew that we didn't have all the answers, and we knew that every time we rolled them out, the kids were going to find a way around a firewall, and we knew we were going to have just things pop up that we didn't think about. So instead of trying to roll it out to 600,000 students at once, we did it in phases so we could troubleshoot. And because of that troubleshooting, we delayed phase 2 in order to fix some inventory problems and a security breach. But once phases 1 and 2 are completed, LAUSD will have rolled it out to 55,000 students and 2,000 educators, which is bigger than most school districts in California. We're also now going to try a different pilot. There's some question as to whether a tablet is the right device for high school students to type papers on and stuff. So now we're also going to try a small pilot with laptops at certain high schools. The other thing that we figured out, and I just sponsored a resolution at LAUSD, is that our policy on student and teacher use of the internet, on social media, on technology was grossly outdated, and it didn't really reflect how we were using our technology, and we needed to update that. So we're in the process of doing that as well. So what do we use them for? So even before we started this huge rollout, I realized schools in my district were begging for technology. And so I sponsored a tech contest in my district. And we had 45 schools submitted 75 applications. There were 9 winners. An amazing special ed class at Mulholland Middle School. The teacher just won Teacher of the Year. He talked about what he's using it for with his special ed students, some of whom are nonverbal, and for the first time ever, they could communicate with him using the technology. There's some really amazing kind of models out there. So this is one of the schools that won the tech contest. They got microscopes, digital microscopes, and in this they're looking at plastic microbeads, which are found in like facial scrubs, and how fish think that they're food and eat them. What are the kids using them for? Robotics is a really big thing at a lot of the schools. We have students who are winning national robotics competitions. We're trying to get middle schoolers ready to take high school robotics and have feeder patterns for the kids doing robotics. Schools are also using it for virtual field trips. It's expensive to go on a field trip. There's all sorts of paperwork involved, and sometimes the field trip you want to take, like the picture on the left, is students at a school in my district, elementary students, talk to astronauts that were in space, live. They asked questions in the auditorium, and the astronauts answered. That's a field trip we'd all love to take, but trust me, my budget does not allow for that. It's pretty amazing. Let's talk about, some of you will recognize the gentleman in the slide, Kevin Spacey, LAUSD grad. He went back to his alma mater to look at some of the production facilities that LAUSD had. These are jobs that we're preparing our kids for. Project done by some student filmmakers at one of the early schools, showing how it works. In the olden days, computers maybe were used to teach word processing or keyboarding skills. Well, look what they're doing on them now. This is a school that middle schoolers created a commercial about the school so they could go out and sell the school to elementary school students who might want to attend their school in the future. Okay? The teacher who taught his middle schoolers how to do this video is also a professional graphic designer, and he knows these are skills that, that folks want to hire people with. So he taught his middle school students how to do that. This, you know, a whole bunch of awards that LAUSD has won. We just had some juniors win a National Cyber Patriots title, which is basically how to defend your school against hackers. Again, this is a job that these kids can get in the future. What are these? They aren't high-tech covering. These are solar panels that we are bringing to our campuses to generate electricity for our campuses. We're also doing smart irrigation, so you won't drive by one of those schools and have the sprinklers on while it's raining. I know no one's ever seen that before, right? These are just some innovative classrooms that we're trying to use. We're trying to use technology to bring maybe shipping containers to use as school classrooms, modulars, stuff like that that we are trying to do. This is also something that schools are trying to engage parents and trying to figure out a way for them to put up homework online. So parents, so it's not like my son who tells me, oh, I don't have any homework. I could actually go and check and find out he really does. You can check grades. You can talk all sorts of things. So this is what's going on with this. That's another student video, and I'm going to end on that because, you know, I'm the mom of two students. We're using this technology for their benefit. These are the jobs of the future. This is what they're going to use to be successful in life. And we know that the audience is listening. We know the world is watching the second largest school district roll out technology district-wide, and we're ready to take on that challenge. So thank you.